Yeah. All right. Thanks, brother. Later. Good evening, everybody. Welcome live here to the Georgetown Eagle Football Coaches Show. Coach Griffin. Tonight we host it in the locker room. Decals and dads going on behind us. You'll see some of the dads working on the helmets. An opportunity for the dads to be part of this season with their kids tonight. No kids in the locker room. Got all the dads setting up the decals, putting the stripes down the middle of the helmets, the G's on the side, and all the logos on them. And an opportunity for the dads to be a part here tonight in the locker room. The coaches walking around, but we're here. First coaches show of the year. 2021 is upon us. The Georgetown Eagles start on Saturday. They will face off, or Friday, will face off against the Belton Tigers at home. The Belton Tigers come in a good game last year, this year, now at home. So we open the season here Friday night, 7 p.m. kickoff. We'll be live on SHN Sports. About 6:30 for the pregame. Kelly Duvall, Dave England will join me. I'm Wally Harmon. This year I'll be doing the play-by-play for the Eagles. A lot of youth, inexperience-wise, on the varsity level here. The Eagles graduate a lot of seniors. We'll get into that with Coach Griffin here in a little bit. But very optimistic. A lot of seniors now. A very big senior class here. But you got your quarterback, Darson Harmon will be at the helm. The 6'4" senior quarterback, his third year at quarterback for the Eagles. And so he'll be in charge, the play caller for the Eagles starting it out. And so you have that experience there. A couple of key players on both sides of the ball. I think we're returning 4 starters on both sides of the ball. And so it'll be interesting to watch. Dave Campbell's has the Eagles making the playoffs in their preseason predictions, but a lot of talent in this district. You have Cedar Park. You have Weiss, who has predicted to have the offensive player of the year in the district, the quarterback there for Weiss. stud athlete. And so a lot of talent up and down the district. The Mater Mustangs are going to have a good team. The Hendrickson Hawks. Leander will be there. Pflugerville, the Weiss Wolves, and the Austin Anderson Trojans. But the first game we concentrate on will be the Belton Tigers on Friday night. Then we'll go to Copperas Cove on the 3rd of September. And the final non-district game will be a good one. On September 10th, we will host the Liberty Hill Panthers before an open week, and then we started off with the Cedar Park Timberwolves, the first district game. And so tonight going around, we'll be here for just a little while as we see in the background work being done on the helmets. Lots of activity here in the locker room. The coaches intermingling and getting things set up and helping out. And so we'll take a break, be back, try to get Coach Griffin over here, talk to him for a little bit before we talk to some of the other coaches tonight. Thanks for joining us here on SHN Sports, the Coaches Show. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back here in the locker room. Coach Griffin's going to finish up one of the helmets, and he'll come over and join us here in just a sec. We look back at last year, the first game we played at Belton on September 25th, 36-27. But one thing, and we'll talk to Coach Griffin about this, you start off with two 6A opponents, both out of the same district where Belton is. We'll play Copperas Cove the next week in Copperas Cove before the Liberty Hill game here at home. But you start off with three tough opponents before you ever get to district play, which is going to be a good test for this young team, an experienced team. Friday Night Lights and things that we'll talk about Friday in the pregame when I'm joined by Kelly Duvall and Dave England. We'll be talking about things that we're going to address before the kickoff is just a lot of inexperience on Friday night. You have some coming back, I said, four starters on both sides of the ball, but you've got a lot of guys new to the Friday Night Lights. It's about them, and they'll come walking out through the family, headed to the field house about an hour and a half before the game. They'll start the warm-ups, and the attention's on them, and so it's a little different a feel on Thursday night to Friday night. And so, but three tough games that the Eagles will face before district in Belton, Copperas Cove, and the Liberty Hill Panthers. Some of the key players coming back, we've discussed in and amongst ourselves with Kelly and Dave England. The quarterback, that's going to be the leading thing on offense. Darson Harmon comes in, 6'4", 220 pounds, the senior quarterback in his third year at the helm. That will be a big. And then you've got Trent McConnell on the defensive side of the ball, the 6'2", 185-pound defensive back senior. He's back. And so some youth in the starting lineup from talking to Coach Griffin. 3 or 4 sophomores potentially will be in the starting lineup. And so how will they fare? What will be the difference for them? Georgetown has a great program. 5 teams, 2 freshman teams, 2 JV teams. They will face off Thursday night, the freshmen here in Georgetown. The JV team's on the road in Belton before Friday night's ball game here at 7 o'clock on the campus of Georgetown High School. It is Parents' Night, so get here early. Expect a good crowd. No limitations have been set. Saw that the Austin Independent School District reopened their games. They had dropped it to 25% attendance, and now it's back open to 100% attendance. So a lot of changes coming there throughout this week as the continual battle with COVID-19. So a different thing. We'll talk to Coach Griffin about that and how that's being addressed as schools seem to be staying intact this year. Not closing down, not going virtual. I know Leander's got a rash of cases this week. And so it's still prevalent. It's still something that's out there. The school districts are having to make their own calls on mask mandates and different things. But the schools are still open. And you see it tonight. Hasn't shied away as the dads here in the locker room working on the helmets, putting the effort in for their kids, an annual tradition here. And so it'll be interesting to look at that. We'll try to get a Coach Bond over here in a little bit. Grab some of the other assistant coaches. And we'll catch a dad or two here in a minute when they get done. Kind of talk of the perspective of what this means to them and how it works and the thought process behind the dads being a part of this for their kids. And so let me take a quick break. I'll try to grab Reggie McConnell, one of the dads, chat with him, and then we'll get Coach Griffin over here to talk to us. So listen to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show on SHN. We'll be right back. All right, I'm joined now, Reggie McConnell, not only a dad here on the team, Booster Club president, so a lot of involvement.
Yes, sir.
And so thanks for joining us tonight. What an opportunity. And so
Absolutely.
From a dad perspective, what does this mean for you dads to be able to share in this for the kids?
It's awesome. We get to come up, see where our kids bleed and sweat every day, get to put our hands on their helmets, and it's just kind of cool to be able to write them a letter of encouragement for the year. So I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Now the kids will come in tomorrow,
Yes,
get
sir.
ready for practice. The helmets are decorated.
Yes, sir.
And they know it's from the dads.
Yes, sir.
That note is there. What has your son said it's meant to him? What is he?
Yes, sir. It's pretty special to him. The previous 2 years I've done it, he's always sent me a text the next morning telling me thank you and that he loves me, and it makes a big impact on him, I think.
And I was looking here, and this is something I'll ask you. I was walking around looking at these lockers. A lot of parental involvement here at Georgetown.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
watching that. The prayer moms.
Yes,
the
sir.
prayer cards inside the lockers. The decals and dads.
Yes, sir.
This isn't a I might make it. This is looked forward to by you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
The prayer moms are, for lack of a better term, very religious about being up here.
Absolutely.
Praying over each locker. What's that draw? Why is that so big here in Georgetown?
I don't know if you know this about me. I was a coach for 12 years
Okay.
before I just started teaching. Georgetown's a special place. There's a reason why I left my kid here whenever I got out of coaching. We didn't go anywhere else. I didn't look for another coaching job. It's just different. This place is different. We do that, and we also pray on Friday mornings. We go down to the G on the field after tacos as a parent group. It's just something that you don't see everywhere. It's a special place to be.
One thing that I've noticed in my 2 weeks, I'm blessed. This is my first year to call Georgetown full-time, play-by-play. I'm super excited to be joined. Kelly DeBall, a retired police officer. Dave England's with us on the sidelines and up in the booth,
Yes, sir.
a firefighter. The service continues to this community, having never been from Georgetown. My kids went to Hutto,
Right.
Gateway, Georgetown. I've never seen the involvement of the parents and the Booster Club, the
absolutely.
support that's here. Meet the Eagles the other night. How'd that go? What does that do for this program?
It was great. We always set a goal of raising about $30,000, and it looks like we're going to be well over that with this year. We just raised funds for all the extras. I think there's about 6 different uniform combinations that we can wear on Friday nights.
Wow.
With Coach's budget, he can't afford that.
Absolutely.
So we do that. We have a state-of-the-art weight room that we help pay for. We're actually going to redo this locker room at the end of the season. Coach is getting a little money for it. We're going to supplement for it. I think we're going to put up a couple of TVs in here as well. Just things that the normal budget can't afford. So.
Exactly. And the effort is all put in. The parents volunteer. The predicted quarterback is the offensive player of the year predicted by Dave Campbell's. So they're talent. They got their
They don't
quarterback
know our
covered.
quarterback very well.
And that's what we've been talking about. We have a third-year starter now
Yes, sir.
in Darson. What does it say to these boys? You're able to talk to your son totally away now from coaching as a parent.
Right.
What does it do for these kids that the first 3 games, non-district, and they have a tough district,
Right.
is 2 6A schools and Liberty Hill? What's their thought on that, being in an experienced team?
Yeah, it's a little concerning, but in the same mind, if we do well on those 3 games, win, lose, or draw, if we play well, we were just in a game with 3 really good programs. And so I think that the players, my son, is looking at it as an opportunity to grow. Excited to get out there and compete.
I tell you what, I'm sure they're looking finally forward to
For sure.
what we think is going to be a normal Friday night.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of exciting. No limitations in the crowd.
Yeah.
Austin, I don't know if you saw that, changed that real quick. Went from 25% attendance now back to 100.
Oh, wow.
When people argued, wait, you're letting them go to school, and that's indoors. We're going to be outdoors. Can we keep? Okay. And so they opened
Yes,
that.
sir.
So it's back to somewhat normalcy, it seems like,
Yes, sir.
for a Friday night. We're excited to be there. The Booster Club, take it to a different angle since you're the president.
Okay.
Friday's a big day.
Yes, sir.
The Booster Club comes out early. Let the people know. Opportunity to kind of share that, to get that up for those kids to walk through.
Absolutely. So the first thing we start the day with is breakfast tacos, which we've talked about already. And then after that, we, about 5 o'clock, we'll have a meal ready over by the baseball field underneath the pavilion. It's free for anybody to come. We do take donations just to try to cover our cost. At about 5:45, the boys walk by, so we get to cheer them on as they walk by from the field house down to the field. And this week's special because we have a parent night. So after we eat, we'll all make our way down to the field, and we'll take part in that. And it's time to beat Belton.
And now as a dad,
Yes, sir.
senior year, your boy's a starter.
Yes, sir.
Has a vital role to lead this defense as a senior with experience on this defense.
Yes, sir.
What does it mean for a dad?
You know, I wrote him in his letter. I won't tell you everything, but I told him I was proud of him for more than just the game. So whether he was a starter or not, it wouldn't make a difference to me. He's a good kid. He's going to be a good man. So that's what's important to me.
You challenged him as you raised him, I'm sure. What does he see as the challenge as a senior leader? He's going to be looked to lead this defense,
It's
to
been
be a
tough
leader.
on him. He came in as a sophomore and had leaders above him. Last year he had 53 seniors, so he hasn't had to be the vocal leader that he's having to be this year.
We're back. We're going to wrap it up here, but not before. Interview Coach Bond.
Hey.
Getting ready for week one.
Yes, sir.
The challenges. A new year. A very, not a young team, but an inexperienced team, varsity Friday night. You coach on the line, offensive line. We'll get into, We got another discussion that we had the first day of pads on that first responder day. It was fun to watch, but the challenges that you coaches are issuing to these kids. The battle of the trenches is going to be big this year.
Absolutely.
A lot of youth.
Yeah.
What are you guys working on? What's the guidance? What's your direction with these guys to get them ready for Friday night?
Well, I tell you, first off, just learning left and right. Just starting there. I mean, once you get to, kids who are a little bit inexperienced, you have to know how to take them in progression, right? So you don't try to dump too much knowledge on them. You need to go out there and play fast. You need to go out there and be able to identify defense, right? Communicate. The absolute basics is what we have to be able to win with. So that's what it is.
Glenn, on the that being said, Glenn scrimmage, how did the offensive line look? How did that go? How did they seem to be progressing?
I thought they did really well. There are a lot of things. So what you do as a coach, especially when you have somebody young, is you basically treat it like a chapter book, right? Like a novel. Okay, chapter 1, this is what we're going to learn. This is what we're going to master. Then you go on to chapter 2, 3, and et cetera, right? And I thought we did really well for everything that I expected them to know. Being able to identify defense, make calls on the fly, okay, and just being able to come back to the sideline and have an intelligent conversation with me about what they saw, be able to make corrections, and that. So I was good with what they did on that scrimmage.
So we'll go to it now. The first day of pads, and I came and talked to you because I was impressed. We laughed about it, but the challenge you issued to those young men.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. Dave and I were sitting there talking about it. We've talked about it since. You all of a sudden we're standing on the sideline watching, and we look over and you yell out like you're giving the signals. 34, you're pointing, and you tell them they need to hear you. And then all of a sudden the play runs, boom, and you finished up with you sound off like men, you fire off the ball like men, and you finish like animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you challenge them, and then all of a sudden it seemed like the intensity picked up.
Absolutely.
It's like they took that and went, did he just call us out?
Yeah.
Did he just say,
Yeah.
sound like men? What do we sound? Which kids do? They'll challenge themselves.
Absolutely.
But it's so true. The battle they're going to face against some bigger boys at Belton, a 6A school, some bigger kids on the line, a challenge from a good defensive line. How have they responded to that challenge? Do they seem to be welcoming?
Yeah, absolutely. They've done well. And here's the deal. Everything's about a mentality. Okay, it all starts in your mind. It all starts with your thoughts. If I'm able to change their thoughts about who they believe that they are as a football player, okay, and get that in line with who I know that they are, then you see the results, right? So they went from making calls, right, to actually making calls with a belief system that they were an animal. That was the goal, was to be an animal. Hence, then you make plays like animals, right? And they all had that understanding of what that meant, right? So at that point, the intensity picked up because now I gave them a identity to shoot for. And since then, that's the progression that you try to do, right? So that's really where that came from, and that's really showed up in today's practice as well. So I'm excited for them.
Watching that Saturday, one thing that stuck out to Dave and I, we were talking there on the sidelines watching. You didn't stand back 20 feet and yell, I need to hear you louder, I need to hear you. You went up and got over the ball with a guard and tackle on your right, a guard and tackle on your left, and started yelling and pointing.
Oh, yeah.
And then people started moving. The center came back in. He started doing it. The quickness to go, wait, he's showing us. He's telling us, but he's showing us. He's not standing back, just yelling.
Yeah.
And the kids responded to that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun to watch as we've been to some practices and watching the involvement of these you coaches. I say these coaches, you coaches, that spend your time, your personal time up here on a night like tonight, involved with the dads, getting things ready for Friday night to kick off what is huge for these kids. They live for. How important is that to you as a coach to be involved, leading it while teaching it, while growing their identity?
Yeah. No, it's extremely important. And, as a coach, you're setting the tone because you are the example, right? You are, as a coach, you are supposed to show them Coach, who am I, all right? And what am I reaching for? Okay, how do I do that, all right? Somebody's loud to them may be different than my definition of loud, right? So we all have to get on the same page. We got to speak the same language. When I tell them a certain terminology, okay, a certain step, a certain way, a certain hand placement, foot placement, and how they go about doing that. If we're all talking the same language with the same amount of passion behind it, then they get it. So when I get up there and I make those calls and I do those things, or I show them a footwork and I show them how it's done, they understand what I'm looking for. Now I've created a very unique language amongst all of them, okay, that we're all talking the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. So they're just trying to act like me,
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it starts. And after they act like me, now that turns into that's who they are because they know that is the expectation.
What do you look for Friday night? You'll go into against Belton.
Yep.
Talk to Coach Griffin. 3 challenging non-district games.
Yeah.
Belton, Copper's Cove, both out of the same district in 6A, and then a powerhouse school in Liberty Hill.
Yeah.
Just a great program of football in Texas. The challenges facing your line as they go into the first game Friday with Belton, but in these 3 non-district games to prepare for the meat and potatoes of the season, our district play.
Yeah.
What do you want to see as the coach?
Well, I mean, every coach talks about effort, right? You always want to see effort. I tell those guys I consider effort to be the least of what you can do, right? That is the minimum standard, right? I said that's just like telling me, hey, Coach Bond, guess what? I didn't break the law today, right? Well, congratulations. We all know you're supposed to do that, right? But what I want to see from them is I want to be able to see them be able to dig deeper than what they have, okay, and show something that they have not seen before out of themselves, okay? That is the progression that we progressively take them up through, starting from helmets or the summer, okay, through helmets, through shoulder pads, on up and really through today, really. There's been a mental progression that's been going on. Now, assignments, things like that, I think we're pretty good there. But so far as I want to be able to see them create their own culture. They take it away from Coach Bond being the driving force of that culture, and now they take ownership of their own culture in the offensive line and turn it to what they want to. After that, I'm just a manager. And when I start seeing that develop, then you have something special.
They're playing for the pride behind this G. We talk about it, the buy-in, the involvement from kids to parents to coaches to community here in Georgetown.
Yes.
So that pride comes kind of built in to these kids, and they have that coming Friday night. Have they melded together? How has their progression been from the days in just in helmets to now in pads as a youthful, experienced line coming together that they know Friday night, hey, we're in this together. We're on the battle lines. Yeah. How has that developed?
Here's the thing. They've gelled well, okay? But it started way before that, right? It started back in, 40s, right?
Yeah.
The 30s. And you talk about that culture of Georgetown, the G. When you step into the role, all right, you've been hearing about the role since you were younger, okay? So you know what the expectations are for you to wear the G. That's no surprise. That's no shock, right? Now, being able to be taught how to maintain and then exceed those standards of the G is where we take them when we get them, okay? So when you talk about the gelling process of it all, they all come in with the understanding of what wearing the G meant, right? After that, it was now that we own the G, it's our time, it's our legacy. What are we going to do with it? And because of great tradition here, they've gelled really well.
Awesome. We're excited.
Yep.
Friday night, 7 o'clock, Belton comes
sir.
in. The first challenge of the year.
Yep.
We got to hit them. We got to hit them fast and quick.
That's it, man.
But we're excited. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Man, first night, so crazy to see this now just quiet down.
Yeah.
But the pride from the fathers, the coaching staff to get that G, those stripes put on those helmets for Friday night when they get to put it into action.
That's it. Yep.
Thanks, Coach Bond.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir.
Thanks for
Yes,
joining
sir.
us. Everyone, we appreciate your time. The Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show here live tonight from the locker room of the Georgetown Eagles. Friday night live, SHN Sports. We'll bring you the game. 6:30 pregame. Myself, I'll have the call. Kelly Duvall will be on my side, the color man. And as long as it's allowed, Dave Doppler, Dave England will be on the sidelines. If that gets squashed, Dave will join us in the booth. Nonetheless, SHN Sports will be there live with the call. Thanks for joining us tonight to Coach Griffin, Coach Bond, Reggie McConnell visiting with us. We look forward to Friday night and watching the Eagles take the field against the Belton Tigers. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.